Hi everyone and welcome to Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition, Definitive Difficulty Walkthrough. This is part 7, if I'm not mistaken, the Foundry part 1. So I have to, and this is 30 minutes, I know, and I have to like divide these chapters because they are actually really long. I mean, the exploration and the combat and the puzzles take a long time, and these dungeons, especially this one that has this first major part, and then it divides into three more parts when you're just getting huge diamonds that are basically like engines to power up this huge guardian that we are going to be fighting in part 8, I guess. And so look at this. This looks beautiful. I mean, yeah, it's old. The game is old, but the dynamic lighting and the 1080p. I know this is 720 and 30 FPS. And I've said before, and I'll say it again. I'm sorry, guys, but due to my internet, to my horrible internet upload, which is not, I think it's not even 1 megabyte of uploads. I don't think I reached 1 megabyte. That's why I don't stream. And on top of that, doing a 1080p 60 FPS, I will be uploading 1 chapter per day, and I would have just, it will like stop me from doing a lot more work because I only have one PC to process everything, and it will aggressively stop my ability to create more content, and it's just not a thing right now. Like, I don't have, if I would have more equipment and like another computer that could take care of the rendering, then I gladly would upload the quality, because I know that a lot of people just are kinda used to watching videos in 1080 and 60 FPS now that Chrome exists and YouTube allows it. For me, it's kinda, I don't care as much. I mean, as a viewer, I don't really care as 720 is enough, because either way, when I render this video, it's gonna lose quality. Doesn't matter if it's 1080 or 720. I think I have actually, I did a walkthrough at 60 FPS. I don't remember which one it was, and I'm not going to look for it now, but I did upload a 60 FPS walkthrough. Don't remember the game though right now, but it was slow. Even 720 and 60 was slow. But what I was going to say is that either way we lose quality when we do the rendering, and then when we upload it to YouTube, we lose more in the compression. And so it just ends up like 720 and 30 FPS for viewing, for watching a fucking video, and not a movie, right? Not a movie, but a video, like gameplay video. That, what's the most important aspect of a video game? Like, many people will tell you the graphics, but I will always say gameplay. Like, for watching some simple gameplay, I think that's enough. Maybe if you want to get a sample of how a game looks, and then maybe you should look for a 1080 60 FPS, but for a walkthrough I don't think it's necessary. And either way, if you want to see how good a game can look, you'll be better off with the PC version, because even though this runs at 1080 60 FPS, it also released for PC, and on PC, if they didn't fuck up the port, which I'm not really sure, it seems to be a thing nowadays, to fuck up all the PC ports, and if they didn't fuck up the ports, it will have a lot of more options in better quality, better shadows, better textures. I hope it does. I don't know. Anti-aliasing and a lot of more stuff effects that will probably make it a better looking, if that's what's important to you. So, but yeah, there are two things that I look to improve in the future. One is the image quality. I would love to get another PC or notebook and just use that for rendering, so it wouldn't stop my ability to keep working at the same pace. I say working, but I'm recording games. You know what I mean. It's not like these people that call this work, and now I'm going to offend like all the fucking YouTube community on top of some subscribers at the same time, and that they have YouTube channels. I know that doing this is work. Like, I have no illusions about not being work. It takes fucking time. I mean, I have a normal work, and then like if I have to do one single video, like this video, 30 minutes, it was edited from like 50 minutes. And the editing process is slow. It takes 1 hour to edit alone. If I'm really fucking like on it and not taking breaks and not distracted and just, you know, flat out editing. It takes like an hour to edit and make it look at least competent. I'm not gonna say I'm a best editor in the internet, because I'm not. But make it look like it's not cutting from like a lava area to an ice area, right? Like, it's not a disaster. And then well, recording. I mean, well, let's start by recording. Recording is like a 3 to 4 hour process just to record an entire part, and then to dissect that part and edit it is another 1 hour or 2, depends on the game. And RPGs are actually a lot harder, and that's logical. And that's why I don't have that much RPGs in the walkthroughs, but I do tend to want to start doing more RPGs, because that's almost my favorite type of games. But I don't do them because it's like hell on earth. I would have to leave the entirety of the video. And I'm going to do 1 hour videos, like with almost no editing, just because you need to see everything that I do, or something like that. And if I have to edit RPGs, it has to be so carefully done. Because if I didn't show an exact part that you need to answer, like a question with a certain answer, and I didn't show that, then it's fucked. Then the walkthrough is fucked. So yeah, it's really troublesome. But going back to the topic at hand, it's work. I know it's work, guys. I'm not saying it's not. But it is always the thing, you know, like when I was growing up, playing video games that were mostly for adults. We're talking about I mix it up. Of course I played Super Mario 3 and Sonic. Jesus, I played so many fucking games. Half-Life on PC, Doom before. There's a one in PlayStation 1, I think. I think it was on PlayStation 1. That's Heart of Darkness, it's called. If you get a chance to emulate this game and play it, I think it's for PC as well. Is it for PC? It could be for PC actually. Just look it up. It's Heart of Darkness. It's a 2D platformer and it's beautifully made. Like it's draw. You know that when the games didn't use polygons, it was just drawing, interactive 2D drawings. It was just beautiful. And I remember that one because I really loved it, and it was tough. It was tough as well. And let's see, I'm just going to name from the top of my head various games that I play. Planescape Torment, my favorite RPG. I play Baldur's Gate 2, Baldur's Gate 1, Icewind Dale, almost everything from Black Isle, and System Shock 2 was incredible fucking action. Like the first person RPG like ever that was actually pretty good. System Shock 2. And I heard recently that they were going to remake System Shock 1, and that they also plan to make System Shock 3. But I don't think that's gonna work, because System Shock 2, the person that was the director of System Shock 2 was Ken Levine. No surprise there. The one that did Bioshock 2 and Bioshock Infinite. Like, it's almost the same game but in space and with an artificial intelligence doing the villain protagonist of the game, the antagonist, right? And it's really close, but much more complex. What else? I played a lot of games. I played a lot of in PlayStation. I even play Fallout Tactics, like Fallout Brotherhood of Steel. It was actually really bad. I play a lot of the Final Fantasies, especially 7, which I won't go into it because, again, I don't know, I'm going to get a backslash. Because I just think Final Fantasy 7 Remake, PlayStation, then the announcement of PlayStation, I think it's not going to happen. But don't pay attention to that. All the Metal Gears, Silent Hill, all the Silent Hill franchise. I was so fucking pissed when they cancelled the last Silent Hill Project PT. I was so fucking pissed off, but whatever. I played the first Halo on PC. I kinda liked it. It wasn't that bad, but Half-Life was already a lot better than Halo. Sorry guys if you think otherwise, but that's my opinion. Deus Ex, of course, the first Deus Ex is probably one of my favorite games, if not my favorite game, outside of Planescape Torment. What else do I play? Well, I played like a lot of fucking games. I even bought the 360, and I played Halo 4, Halo 3, and I didn't like them. I play Gears of War, and I liked Gears, but like, it's a really good game, but it can get a little repetitive. And something that always strikes me like wrong is that no one ever copied the mechanics of reloading that were so fucking fun in Gears of War, like reloading at the exact moment and getting more damage. No one ever copied that. I haven't seen it in any other first-person shooter, and it's an active reload because you are actually like you don't have to only press the fucking reload button. You have to actually pay attention to what you're doing when you are reloading, because you want that extra damage. And it's so fucking good that no one ever copied it. Why? Every fucking company in the world copies everything from other games. Like, it's like a fact. And no one ever copied this system? Why? Like, they copied almost the entire cover system of that game and tried to emulate it in every single game that they released in first-person shooters and third-person cover shooters that they practically are non-existent right now, as you watch me fail to the lava right there. But they didn't copy the active reload. I don't understand. So whatever. I sold the 360 after I played the only game that I think is it was worth the buy. A single game, yes, and you're going to probably, if you're a fan of Xbox 360, which is fine, I mean, you're going to complain about it, but what was the fucking game? This always happens. Infinite Odyssey, I think it was called like that. It was an RPG from the creator of Final Fantasy. It was Infinite Odyssey, It was not Infinite Odyssey. It was something Odyssey. And it was a really good game. It had a lot of troubles, and it wasn't as good as the very good Final Fantasy games. Like this, well, 7 is probably my favorite, and then really close to 7 is 8. And I know almost no one liked 8, or there are a lot of people that like 8, but almost no one liked 8 very much because of the magic functioning system. And I always thought, what a fucking good idea, like actually using magic for other thing than fighting, like using magic to strengthen various stats on your characters. That's fucking genius. That's a very good system. I really liked it. But I guess I come from the old school RPGs, and that system is closer to a more complex system, right? And they really got away from the complex Final Fantasy on the last ones that were just fucking terrible, like Final Fantasy 13. Oh my fucking Christ! I did bought that game when I bought the PlayStation 3. Jesus Christ! Jesus fucking Christ! And then they took like, how long has it been? Like 10 years to make Final Fantasy 15. That's gonna release next year, hopefully. 10 fucking years. Because the game changed names, it changed the story, it practically like, it changed the engine. It's just fucking 10 years. They said that game was going to release on PlayStation 3 and it's actually releasing on PlayStation 4. So why would I ever think that Resident Evil... What the fuck? Like, why would I ever think that Final Fantasy 7 would ever fucking released on this generation of consoles when Final Fantasy 7 is probably the biggest and more complex Final Fantasy ever? How they are going to emulate that on Unreal Engine 4? How they're gonna work? How they're gonna work all the tricks and all the twinks and make it actually the same game but better? Because that's what they say, right? They're gonna use a new fighting system, stuff like that, a more active fighting system. So how are they going to do that? How? That's an impossible situation right there. I don't think we're gonna see the remake of Final Fantasy until the PlayStation 5. Like, another 10 fucking years. So whatever. We're gonna get the Death Grip really soon. As I'm trying to do something here that's not gonna work. And this same place, I think the staircase that was back there can lead us to Baethyr. That's an optional boss, and Baethyr will come after this part, guys. Between this part and the second part will come Baethyr, as I already killed her and recorded it. So, but yeah, I have no hope of receiving Final Fantasy 7. I didn't want to talk about it, but whatever. Just kind of explaining what my life has been with games. But yeah, what was the point of all this? There was a point at the beginning of this conversation, I'm sure. Like, why was I explaining what I played? I have no fucking clue at this point. Well, that's what happens when I have to record 30 minutes of video and I have no fucking annotations in a paper, like for orientation. I just, because I like to do this kind of like coming out of my mind, because I think that's me, that, you know, that's me that's talking, and not a piece of paper or a rehearsal, you know. It may not sound as professional as many people would like, but I actually like it. And so yeah, I played a lot of graphic adventures. That's a thing too, like Monkey Island and Loom. Does anyone remember Loom? I don't think anyone remembers Loom. And Maniac Mansion and The Day of the Tentacle, and Green Fandango, so many LucasArts graphic adventures. I grew up with them, and I guess that's why I don't actually fucking care if a game has a lot of puzzles or not, you know, because I grew up solving puzzles. Like the first RPGs, like Baldur's Gate, were really tough on puzzles. When I was just a fucking kid, so. And for example, the graphic adventure of LucasArts, Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, was really tough. There were some puzzles in that game that were really fucking tough, and I had to solve them all by myself, because back then there was no internet. I know that you might scratch your head and say what, but exactly, there was no internet. There were magazines, but gaming was such an obscure subject, not at all like now, that is everywhere and probably is a more thriving industry than even movies. But back then it was like an obscure thing, right? Like 5% of the fucking community played video games, something like that. And if you wanted to see the next part of a game, there was no hand holding. Talking about hand holding, right? And there was no fucking solution that were immediately accessed through internet. You had to fucking sit your ass down and think. And I think that problem defined my generation of gaming. That's why I don't ever complain about solving puzzles. I don't ever complain about a game not showing me a huge fucking arrow of where I have to go. Because I grew up not having the arrow. I grew up not having the checkpoints every 5 fucking seconds. Although I appreciate the checkpoints, by the way, I do appreciate it. I think that's one of the minor stuff that actually got good with time. But like you had a quick save, and in Fallout 4 you can actually actually quick save. By the way, it's one of the latest games that you can actually have to quick save. But this is the thing, the quick save had a lot of complexity to it, because it always, the quick save always overwrites the previous quick save. So you have to actually manually save and quick save at the same time, because what happened if you were not careful, and what can happen to you with Fallout 4 if you're not careful, is quick save before a fucking like bullet impacts in your head and kills you. And if you save at that moment, you're going to enter a fucking loop of death that's forever going to kill you. And if the last serious save before that, or the checkpoint, was like an hour ago, you just lost 1 hour. And I'm talking about Fallout 4, not talking about all games. Like you just lost 1 hour of the game. And if you randomly got a lot of good loot and you go back and you don't get it, you're going to be pretty mad. I mean, the generation right now, and I don't mean to talk bad about and saying like, oh my god, the elitists, right? The fucking elitists. My time was better than now. I don't want to do that, because that's not true. They're just different times. But there is so much hand holding, as we actually, like, I'm just not. This is not rehearsed, guys. I just mentioned hand holding when that guy was grabbing a Speed's end, and yeah, there's so much hand holding in this generation, and so much big fucking arrows pointing us in the right way. Like before, when we wanted to know where the fuck do we have to go, we have clues. Like fucking clues in Elder Scrolls Daggerfall. That's probably the best Elder Scrolls ever. We had clues to find out where we have to go. The game just talked to people, and the people gave us clues, and we had to thought, okay, so they're talking about this and that, so it has to be this way, and you had to go that way and maybe not find it, or find it. And did we complain about it? No. Like that was a standard in that time. Like we never thought, why is not a fucking huge arrow pointing me exactly where I need to go, even though I don't know where I need to go? Why there is not a fucking... No, it looked logical. It seemed logical. We don't know where we need to go, so we don't get a fucking like cheap fucking PS like we get now in every single game. We have a fucking GPS integrated in every single open world game, and that actually was nice because it augmented your discovery. I mean, maybe you didn't go to where the game wanted you to go, but you discovered like fucking a huge dungeon with a lot of cool stuff in it, and it was not your intention at all. But now you have to intentionally go out of the way of the view of the point. Like, you have to disable the fucking main quest in options because it's always going to show you where you need to go, and you have to choose to get lost, right? But it wasn't a choice to get lost before, it was a fact. Because like, imagine you visiting some place that you don't know anything about. You're gonna get lost because you don't have a fucking map, because maybe you have to find the map before you can have the map, right? So this really looks like an elitist commentary, but I assure you it's not. I'm just explaining fucking facts. I'm not saying that that time was better than this time, because a lot of people will think about that like if it were a fucking nuisance, annoyance, and like fucking bothering gameplay, like wasting your time, because there is this fact of time now that doesn't have, it just can't be wasted. Your time, it can't be wasted ever, because it's the only most important thing you have, right? But back then we didn't thought like that. We played games. We didn't take games that seriously. I mean, I'm a serious fucking gamer. I'm the most serious gamer that you're going to find, because I will defend games on a fucking trial. Like, I will never. And every time that I met a girl, and the girl or an adult, when I was a kid, I'm talking when I was a kid, had that prejudice about games, and they said like, oh, games are for kids, blah blah blah, and I had like 14 or 15. I was not a kid anymore. I always defended it, even if it make me look like a fucking nerd. I always defended it. I always defended it because it is my thing. It is what I like. People are always going to have something to say about the things you like. It's always going to happen, guys, and now more than ever, because everyone is like an opinion master on YouTube and everywhere, on every forum. So now everyone is going to say like soccer is for animals, or everyone that plays soccer is a fucking asshole. Not an asshole, but you know, they say that they are kind of brutes. They are not intelligent at all. And like there is a fucking bad opinion about you and the things that you do every single way, and the only thing that you have to do with those people is not listen to them, whether they are just fucking ugly people that just want to hurt you on purpose, or they're just doing it by ignorance, by sheer ignorance, that they never played a fucking game and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. You don't need to hear that, because you already are sure of what you like. Just pay no fucking mind. And I learned this kinda late, because I spent a lot of time of my life defending video games, and now I don't have to, because now video games have become part of the pop culture, so to speak, of the general culture of people. There are a lot of people that play games, and they have become even as normal as seeing a movie, right? I'm still seeing some people with prejudice against games, but they are mostly older people, and it's just stated like a fact that if you have like 20 to 30 or 40 years, you play games, or you play them now, right now, and there's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't make you into a version or a fucking like nerd or something like that. So now it's a good place to play games. It's a good time, sorry, to play games. But back then, it was something that you had to defend against every time you mention it. And I'm going to talk more about this subject in the next video, guys, because we reached the end of this one, and we'll see each other in the Foundry part 2. Take care.